Everybody, thank you for tuning in. I'm in my office with two cameras, one for YouTube and one for Instagram. So I'm just working with the space that I've got to accommodate both cameras. So let's just adjust this one, this camera just here. Hello Heidi. Hello, much love from, where's the message gone? Where's the message gone? All messages are visible. Is that from Colorado? From Boulder, Colorado. Hello. Thank you for tuning in, Heidi. Thank you for... I hope you find this manifestation workshop to be very helpful. Thank you for tuning in Colorado. And hello over on Instagram. Thank you to everyone tuning in for the manifestation workshop. I hope that the lighting is okay for here. For those just joining in on Instagram, I'm in my office and I've got the two cameras set up. I've just seen you live on Instagram too. Yes, I'm doing it on both channels, on the YouTube side and for Instagram. So, thank you everyone for tuning in. So this manifestation workshop, and I'm going to speak about manifesting, how to manifest, some of the tips about how we can bring manifestations into our lives and what prevents our manifestations from working. And then at the end, if there's any questions that anyone has, please do ask them and I will answer them. And this is going to be recorded and available on YouTube as a replay. So if you're not able to stay for the whole session, that's absolutely fine. The replay will be available on YouTube. So with that being said, I'm just going to begin. So a lot of you will be familiar with obviously manifesting or manifestation if you follow me on Instagram for the number of years that I've been on there, and also on YouTube with the videos that I share about. So just to go over the basics of what manifestation is, first of all, before we look into how we can really manifest effectively and how we can prevent blockages from stopping us from manifesting our desires. Manifesting is basically creating experiences in our life, physical circumstances, relationships, health, everything in our life is what we are manifesting, because the very essence of life is energy and vibration. So we need to think in terms of energy and vibration. The way, particularly in the West, there is two beliefs that for the last 300 years or so we've gone by. We've gone by Newtonian physics, that we are all separate from everyone and everything, and what goes on with me has nothing to do with you or the environment around me. And there's Darwinian theory. These two are now out of date. There is a lot more science, updated science, that is showing, particularly in quantum physics, that we are energy and frequency and they're all interconnected. And there is an immediate, definite effect that the environment has around us based on what we think and what we feel. So all experiences that we are having has been manifested in some way from us, consciously or unconsciously. And how do we manifest this? Through energy and the frequency. We are all electromagnetic beings. We're all energy and frequency. And each frequency has a different type of vibration, and each vibration has different properties. So for example, if you was to measure any particular feelings like love, joy, compassion, the elevated emotions that we talk about, they would have a very high vibration, a very high frequency that we resonate with and get wonderful healing benefits of the physical body. And this is the place where we want to be and have our manifestations from. But also there is the flip side of that: fear, anger, jealousy, anxiety, lack, separation. These beliefs create feelings and a vibration that goes out to the environment around us, and they have a much slower, denser frequency. And when we're very stressed, for example, we can take on these feelings, and then this can have a detrimental effect on our body. And also this means we are giving out certain vibrations and manifesting certain experiences that match that frequency. So what determines the frequency that we put out and what we manifest? It's our thoughts and it's our feelings. What we think and what we feel generates a baseline vibration that we emit to the environment around us. And like attracts like. You know, what we put out in frequency is met back by a frequency match and is manifested in physical experience. So this is why you may have heard in things like the law of assumption, the law of attraction teachings, you want to use affirmations and manifest what it is that you want to desire. You don't want to act or put out that your manifestation is not here. You want to act already like your manifestation is here. Because remember, what we're attracting and putting out is met by a frequency match. So if we assume the feeling, have the thoughts and have the beliefs and have the feeling that our manifestation is here in our present reality, consequently that vibration is going to go out to the environment around us. And by universal law, that has to be met by a physical experience that matches that frequency. And that's how we begin to manifest. Very similar if you think in terms of what these pro athletes do, or really successful businessmen or entrepreneurs. They mental rehearsal. They act like they've already done it. And not only do they act like they've already done it, internally they have the mental vision, they have the feeling, they get so into that they create an internal experience that's much more vivid than the outer experience. So they've already done it. So they're feeling inside, because several studies have shown that the subconscious mind does not know any difference between an internal experience and an outer physical experience. So you just think of that for a moment, that it does not know any different. So if you think in terms of, if you could really visualize and get the feeling that your manifestation is already real. The law of assumption means assume that it's already real. Where you begin to believe it and inside you have that belief and have that conviction, then that's what's going to be attracting it to you, just like the mental rehearsal. But also think, that also works with negative thoughts. If you have an argument with someone and you can't seem to let it go, and you keep replaying the argument over and over in your head, and you get more angry or you get more fearful, and you just can't seem to let it go, you're literally pouring your energy into that experience that you had, that may even be years old. And when we're putting that energy, our subconscious mind does not know the difference that is an experience that happened in the past. It's reacting chemically and energetically inside. We're acting as if that's already happened. That's happening again. So even though we're thinking about something from the past, we're actually reliving it. And as we're reliving it, that's the feeling we are generating, and that's the vibration that we're putting out. So of course, we're going to manifest more experiences that match that feeling, which if you've been in toxic relationships, or if you had problems with your parents and you seem to manifest the same cycles over and over again, this would be one of the reasons why. If we don't let go of the trauma, of the memories, of the feelings that we're holding on to, and we just keep regurgitating it, it's going to keep creating again and again. So it's good to be aware that we're manifesting all of the time, whether it's from the place of adopting the feeling that what we want to manifest is already real, or whether it's on the negative side, reenacting and imagining scenarios that wasn't very helpful to us, and therefore we keep regurgitating that and generating more experiences. But you see, with the law of attraction, it's said that like attracts like. What we put out, we attract. So as we are generating these feelings, we are attracting these experiences to us. But we want to make sure that we are in alignment with what is in for our highest and best. So that's why it's important to be aware of what our thoughts and feelings are. Because let's say, for example, you want to manifest more money, more health, whatever it is that you want to manifest. If you have a belief in your mind of lack, that you've never had enough money, or you always seem to be running out of money, and you look at your physical circumstances, you look at your bank account, whatever it is that you look at, and you realize, oh, I don't have any money, and you get in constant reminders, it's very difficult to get into that feeling that you have money. So this is where we need to look at what our thoughts and our feelings are, and what our beliefs are, because we can have beliefs in lack. And if we keep feeling that we are lacking something, we're going to keep creating more experiences that confirm that we are lacking because of the feeling that we have. Very simply, if you think thoughts, feelings generate a baseline vibration, that vibration is constantly being emitting. And physical circumstances that match that frequency are going to keep coming out, like self-fulfilling prophecy. So in the law of assumption teachings, I post a lot about the law of assumption on my YouTube videos. The law of assumption says in some ways be delusional, because you want to assume that your manifestation is already real. Act like it's already here. Circumstances don't matter. Don't take your cues from your circumstances, because you stay in that vicious loop. So you want to just do what you can to step out of that and adopt the feeling that your manifestation is already here. Remember, it's all energy and frequency, energy and vibration. It's all electromagnetic energy. The thoughts that we are thinking are the electrical component, and the beliefs that create the feeling is the magnetic. So this is why in a lot of visualization meditations and affirmations, they say to visualize what it is that you want. You visualize it and have the idea in your mind, and you make it incredibly vivid. Then you bring in the magnetic, the feeling like it's already here. That will pull it to you. In quantum physics, they say that there are parallel realities, multiple different realities, and it's just shifting our vibration, our perspective to that particular reality. Now that might sound quite a bit deep to those who might not be familiar. It might not be difficult. It might be difficult for the mind to make sense of that if it's never heard that before. But if you just remember that, just get the idea that what you want to experience, you generate your beliefs and your feelings first, what you're putting out. It has to start from that place. So the first place that what I work on with clients, for example, in my coaching programs is, first of all, what are the current core beliefs that you are carrying? So if you are wanting to manifest better health, if you're wanting to manifest a relationship or more money, whatever it is, and you don't seem to be getting anywhere, you're doing affirmations, you're doing meditation, you don't seem to find any results, well, you need to first of all look and see what your core beliefs are. What is the feeling that you really have? You might not be feeling your manifestations are already real. Understandably, if you're not used to it, and if you have too many physical circumstances around you that tell you otherwise. But what we want to do is look and see what your current belief system is, because if anyone wants to know how to make any changes or where to begin to how they make changes in their life, they first of all need to see what's not working in your life. It's quite simple. Some people say to me, I don't know what the root cause of this issue is, or I don't know where to begin. So I say, okay, well, what's not working in your life, or what are you not getting full satisfaction from? What are you not feeling that's epic in your life? And you will find that we will have some beliefs within us rooted in lack that we have adopted from a very young age. And as we have those beliefs in lack, it prevents us from believing that we can get what we want. Because you see, very simply, our thoughts and our feelings can contribute to the beliefs that we have. And it's our beliefs and our perspective that determine how we view life, therefore determines what vibration we put out and what we manifest. How do we get those beliefs and perspectives? When we are born, we are programmed from a very young age, because when we're born, we are in the theta brainwave state. So obviously we know, be careful what you say around young children, very impressionable. Well, that's very true, because from the ages of 0 to 7, and it's been shown that we can actually pick things up whilst we are still in the womb. But from up to the ages of 7, we are in that theta brainwave state. Now, the theta brainwave state is the brainwave state of hypnosis. It's the in-between state between waking and sleep, so just before you go into delta, which is full sleep. So it's the hypnotic brainwave state. And when we're that young, we don't have the logical, the analytical filters that we have as adults that discern and determine and filter things out. We are literally very impressionable and taking in everything as it comes. So if you've got young children around you, or if you think back to when you was a young child, anything that your parents or any caregivers or any people in your immediate environment, whatever they said to you, will be shaping your belief system. And not just what they say to you or how they treat you, it's what you observe in other people, if you observe certain behaviors. So if you were around parents who were not very loving or made you feel that you weren't good enough, or didn't show you didn't give you any confidence, you will go around thinking that you are not good enough and that you're lacking and you're not confident. A majority of the experience that we have are rooted from childhood. Because of that age and because of where we are in our mindset, we form our core belief system there. Now, going forward from the ages of 7, of course, we start to make up our own mind on things. We've got those logical filters. But already the blueprint core belief system has been set. And of course, we are still young, even from the ages of 7. And of course, our belief system can also still change as we grow up. But particularly, the things that really make a difference to us in our beliefs is anything that has emotionally charged experience. Why do you find it so easy to remember certain things that are very scary for you, or very traumatic or painful, or very happy and joyful? It's because there is a highly charged emotional feeling with an event. And it's much easier for the subconscious mind to remember anything that has an emotional charge. Which I give this example all the time, and I still give this example because it's very simple to understand. If you were bitten by a dog when you were very young, and it was very scary for you, painful, traumatizing, your mind will easily remember that. It will remember those feelings. So going into the future, could be several years later, you see a dog, nothing to do with that event, a dog that's nothing like the dog that bit you, but if you've still adopted a belief from those experiences that you had, and you still have those same emotions, your mind is automatically going to switch on those same responses that you had when you were originally bitten many years ago. The fight or flight response kicks in. You might start to get anxious. You might start to get fearful. Your heart might begin to beat really fast. You might start to get the adrenaline rush because your brain remembers very vividly how you felt at that time when you were bitten. And so it will turn on the same response, even though, it's like I said earlier, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what goes on internally and the outer experience. Even though the outer situation is different, it still has an association based on that chemical, that emotion. And so too is the same with all of our belief systems. So, in my personal experience from my own development, and from all the spiritual studies that I've done, and watching and listening to all the spiritual teachers that I've followed over the years, all issues that we seem to have stem from one or two places. That's fear or lack. All the problems that we have, if we feel we're not good enough or don't have anything that we want, it all comes from the belief that we are lacking something in some form, and that's where suffering comes from. So, as I said, if we grow up thinking we're not good enough, we feel that we've been lacking the love and the affection that we needed when we were growing up, lacking that attention or lacking that support, or lacking the money that we needed, or whatever it is. Or we can have relationships that were quite abusive, and we were lacking something that relationship needed. If we still look at those experiences and we have the belief we're not good enough, of course we're going to keep putting that belief out there. If we keep putting that belief, which is actually that energy and vibration out there, we're going to keep attracting people who have the same traits to match, to reaffirm what it is that we're believing. So for example, it's very common for people to have issues with their parents, whether it's their mother or their father, and to find they manifest a partner that kind of mimics that sort of relationship, if you get what I mean. If you feel that you've not had, it's very classic that to feel not good enough or not loved by your dad, for example, and then that's affected you, your confidence growing up, never getting that approval. You don't feel that you're good enough, and you don't feel that you're lovable or worthy. But you don't realise this at the time. These are just the feelings that you have. And then when you get a relationship, you're constantly thinking you're not good enough. Are they going to leave you? Am I attractive enough? And you might start to get insecure about what it is that they're doing. Or your partner may also be very inaffectionate. You might be struggling to get that affection and approval from them, and then it causes problems and problems and problems. And what happens is if we don't address these issues, we will keep on creating the same scenarios with different people again and again. So that's how that kind of works. As well as that, if we're also trying to make a change and we want to feel that we're good enough and manifest that perfect partner, but we don't feel that we're lovable, we don't feel that we're attractive enough, we don't feel that we're good enough, or if we want to attract more money, but we just feel that we're always lacking money, or there's no money in our bank accounts. If we still got those same beliefs that we've had, that's gonna override what we're consciously trying to think about. So how do we change that? Well, first of all, it's good to be aware of your own subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind rules the roost. We are capable of manifesting anything we want in our lives, but as we are incarnated in this physical body, we do have a subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is the place where all of our core beliefs and our emotional feelings and associations are stored, and they do determine what we're going to manifest, because this is where our root beliefs are stored. It's much more powerful than our conscious mind. For example, the subconscious mind controls 95% of our behavior. That is a crazy statistic. Only 5% of your behavior are you in control of. Only 5%. The rest is all on autopilot, based on the certain functions, of course, that the subconscious mind controls physically. But as far as beliefs go and our thought processes, they are literally on autopilot, and they are based on these core beliefs that we have. And it's important to be aware of this, because if we are trying to use affirmations, for example, to manifest a new reality, if we say, I've had some people say to me, affirmations don't work, And I said, oh really, why is that? Well, I did my affirmations 3 times the last couple of days and nothing. And I said, oh really, 3 times? They go, yeah, 3 times, nothing. I said, right, okay. So you said your affirmation 3 times. How many other thoughts did you have that were saying the opposite? Well, I don't know. I can't keep count of all my thoughts. Exactly. So you would obviously be having so many thoughts saying the opposite. You may have said your affirmation 3 times, which is like 3 positive thinking. But how many other thoughts did you have that were negative or lacking? And what's going to win? Because every thought is an affirmation. An affirmation is an affirmative statement. So when we say we want to use our affirmations to manifest what we want, we are not. An affirmation is not a separate thing. The word affirmation doesn't single out a single thought that doesn't have any, that's separate from our normal thoughts. No, all of our thoughts are affirmations, anything that we affirm in, good or bad. So this is why it's important to be aware that, alright, you might say your affirmation 3 times, but how many other thoughts or affirmations are you saying without realizing it that says the complete opposite? You could say, I am healthy and, the wealth, we'll stick with the wealth one. We can say, I am abundant, I have so much money, money is coming to me everywhere, I feel so rich and wealthy and so secure. But then, in your mind, you're thinking, yeah, right, have you checked your bank account lately? Have you checked your bank account? Or you could say, I love and accept myself. And then you're like, well, no, I don't. I don't love and accept myself at all. You're not good enough. Why would I love and accept you? Without realizing it, we are cancelling it out straight away. So the whole point of using affirmations is the more you say them, the more they will become a habit. Remember, everything's habit. So it's good to be aware how the subconscious mind works, first of all, because it's the root of your belief system where all your beliefs are held. And the only reason why you will not be manifesting what it is that you want is if you don't believe it, or if you have a belief that's lacking, that it can't happen. Katie, through affirmation become the opposite thoughts active to come to the surface. Yes, absolutely. And I think we've got all the messages here. Hi, you've got to live it, smell it, feel like it's already there. Absolutely. So affirmations are very effective because they help to shift our belief system through repetition. So if you think of your subconscious mind has the blueprint of all your beliefs and perspectives, and all of your beliefs and perspectives determine your feeling state and your point of attraction. We want to change those beliefs that don't serve us so that we can begin to manifest more of what it is that we want. And there's several ways that we can do that. One of them is through affirmations. So affirmations do work because it's accessing the subconscious mind, and that's repetition. If you think of any new habit, how do you form a habit? It's through repetitive motion, doing things time and time again. And we have to remember that's how the thoughts that we currently have been formed over a period of time and repetition. The difference is we weren't realizing it at the time. We were unconscious doing it. Now we want to consciously change those beliefs, change those perspectives so that we can create what we want. But it's a bit more challenging when we've got a set of beliefs that have been formed to go against. So we have to have some patience with ourselves. But saying your affirmations more than 3 times a day, as often as you can, whilst practicing assuming the feeling that it's already real. Now, you might not feel it at first, and that's okay. But it's practicing and acting like you have that reality already present with you is so key. And what will happen after a period of time, affirmations have been shown to help rewire the neural pathways. And it's no surprise, because anything we affirm to ourselves as a period of time will become a habit. We're now consciously choosing. Instead of I'm not good enough, you can say I love and accept myself. I love and approve of myself. I am good enough. I am worthy. So affirmations are a really powerful tool because it literally helps to reprogram the subconscious mind. Another way that we can do that is through hypnosis. Heidi, affirmations, I found they were so beneficial when I went through heartbreak. Absolutely. I mean, affirmations, it's positive self-talk. And positive self-talk is very powerful because, as I said, they can become like self-fulfilling prophecies. But another thing, when accessing the subconscious mind is, you could also access through in the theta brainwave state. Like I said earlier, if we're in the theta brainwave state when we are born, we can easily access that state again through like self-hypnosis, which is why a lot of people like to listen to meditations or hypnosis tapes when going to sleep, because if we can access that theta brainwave state again, we can actually begin to rewire these beliefs and these patterns, because again we're in that impressionable state. So that's another way that we can do that. But it's adopting the feeling. It's almost like people say be delusional. You have to really ignore the circumstances to a point. Obviously, there's certain things that you need to do on a practical level, of course, but don't take your cues from circumstances. Take your cues from your energy and from your vibration. So just have that in mind, that what I believe, what I affirm to myself is what I'm attracting and influencing my point of attraction and my experiences. The way for me to change what's not working is to look at what my current belief system is and what's not serving. And I would advise to look at when you're looking at your belief system, look at what beliefs are rooted in lack and fear, because that's where we become stuck. It's through lack and through fear. If there is any belief that we have that we are lacking, because this is the thing, this is an abundant universe. We keep manifesting experiences all the time. There's no lack of energy, or there's no lack of anything we always are experiencing something, so there's no lack. So the only reason why we experience lack is if we keep affirming that I'm lacking. If we have a belief that I'm lacking this or I'm lacking this and there's not enough for me, we are going to keep manifesting in abundance, ironically, situations that affirm that we're lacking. Why? Because anything we affirm, there's an abundance of. And we are just so happen to be saying that we are lacking something, and the universe is like, all right, okay, here you go, here's more lack, here's more lack. You're not really lacking, you're actually in full flow of abundance of what you are defining as your life, and that's lack. But if we change the word lack to abundance, or want prosperity, then of course if we keep putting that out, the universe is exactly the same, going to say, okay, yeah, here's more prosperity for you. Just change the label, change the definition, the process is the same. And that's why there's no difference. And subconsciously, You know, we can make ourselves believe that we've already got everything we want even before the physical circumstances, manifest its way to show that. And then this brings me on to another important point to bear in mind as well, is when we do manifest, now this is something that I always have learned through personal experience, is, well, there's two things. One, there is a process of letting go. So as much as we want to affirm that our reality is how we want it to be, through the law of assumption, and Neville Goddard teaching says this as well, but there is also part of a universal law about letting go and allowing it to come when the time is right. Think of all the tools that you can do, whether it's your affirmations, visualizations, meditation, self-hypnosis, whatever it is, whatever tools that can help you get into that manifesting state. The way that it will still always work is when we have to let go to a point and allow the universe to take care of the details. We put in our order by doing all those tools. We set ourselves up. I like to call it we meet the universe halfway. We don't have to do the mechanics. All we have to do is set our vibration up, essentially. In simple terms, put your vibration in a place ready and available for the universe to match that with the experience that you want. Sounds so simple. And it is a simple concept, but doing it is very challenging when we have these different beliefs that stop us from doing that. That's why there's a lot of self-development, dark night of the soul, a lot of inner work. That's where all that comes in, because we have to let go of the stuff that prevents us from, moving forward and manifesting what it is that we want. But that process is the same. And when we go through that process, we have to realize that, we set ourselves up, but the universe takes care of the circumstances. We might not know how our manifestation is going to work out. We might not know how things are going to work out tomorrow. All we can do is visualize and put our preference and our outcome there, but then we have to let the universe take care of the details. And sometimes what the universe works out for us is even better than what we think. So we need to let go to allow manifestation to happen, because if we don't, that is another thing that will block it from happening. When we set ourselves up for success, shall we say, think of it as we are planting the seeds. We're planting the seeds for what we want to manifest. When you plant seeds to grow plants, you know that as long as you plant a seed in the soil with the right moisture, sunlight, or whatever conditions it needs, you know there's a law and a process that you don't need to think about that makes those seeds germinate and grow. You don't go there every day or every other day digging around to see what's happening. Are you growing yet? If you kept digging around, you're going to disrupt the process and those seeds will grow. So too is the same with our affirmations and our manifestations. If we keep being overly attached to it, when's it going to happen? How's it going to happen? It won't work. Why? Because if we're doing that, we're not coming from a place of abundance. We're coming from a place of lack, from fear. From fear that my manifestation is not going to happen. I'm so afraid my manifestation is not going to happen because I'm lacking it. So I need to find out, is it working? Is it happening? Well, that's very lacking energy, and that's going to disrupt the vibration that you are putting out to manifest what you want. So there is an element of letting go to allow it to happen. I always say let the universe take care of the details. And also, there is divine timing. Now, some people have asked me, I've worked with people actually who have wanted to know, is it possible for me to manifest deadlines, manifest this, manifest that? Well, of course it's possible. But is it possible every single time? It might not be. Because there's no such thing as time, yet there's divine timing. Bit of a paradox. Because I always like to say that when I want to manifest something, I always want to make sure I'm living my highest and best. And we are all going to be wanting to manifest for our highest and best, because we all want to feel good. The difference is we have an idea in our minds of what our highest and best is, based on the limited perspectives that we have. So I might have an idea of wanting to manifest this or that. It could be money, it could be relationship, it could be job, whatever it is, because it gives us some sort of pleasure and a good feeling. Now, from the perspective that we've got, we feel that's our highest and best, so that's our order. We're putting in our order. But it might not be for our highest and best. And I am always open to that, because it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. As long as it's for my highest and best, I know it's going to be good. It's like some spiritual teachers have said affirmations like "only good lies before me." Louise Hay used to say that only good lies before me, and she used to say it doesn't matter what happens; it's because she knows it's going to be good. So any manifestation that you want to have, first of all, have a detachment from it. As much as you want it to happen, as much as you want to assume the feeling, like the law of assumption says, that it's already real, and as much as you might be familiar with the Neville Goddard teachings and techniques, you still have to let go and not be attached to it. As soon as you have attachment, you're coming from a place of lack. You're coming from a place of lack and scarcity and povertyness. We want to come from a place of abundance, because if you feel that you are lacking and your experience isn't going to happen, then you are saying that you are separate from that experience, and you are saying there is not enough abundance for everyone. There's not enough abundance for you. So immediately that's putting up the block to it. So we want to always have that safety net of, right, okay, this is what I want. I'm really feeling it. I'm really visualizing it. You can do your techniques. Then after a while, just surrender to the universe to take care of the details. Let it take care of the hows, the whens, the whys, and the timing. And don't put pressure on yourself with deadlines. Heidi, and I've experienced better than I expected. Yes, I have too. It's like the saying goes, if one door closes, another door opens, or was it one door closes and two more open, or something like that. But sometimes the way things work out can seem a bit chaotic, but it's like the moving pieces, like a jigsaw, moving pieces, putting things into place. But you can see that if you have that detachment. Don't come from a place of fear. Don't come from a place of lack. How many times I've had to catch myself there. Had to catch myself realizing, oh, I'm actually coming from a place of lack here. I can, instead of coming from a place of here, I'm coming from a place more up here. And we need to be careful of when that steps in, because this is another thing to remember, is that when we have the feeling of our manifestation and we keep going with it, several times it can be that just as it's about to happen and come into physical existence, we come out of alignment and we go back into lack, and then it doesn't happen. Because the blueprint of what we want is an energy form around us all the time. It's just waiting for the right circumstances for it to come to physical experience. So we have to always be consistent. But letting go is the key, and allowing the universe to take care of all of the details for the highest and best, and allowing the timing. So instead of saying, by this time and this date, I will have this, you could say something as simple as this: in my lifetime, I will have this, I will have that. Keep it open. Or if you are wanting to be really specific and say a particular time, where it's the month or year, whatever, you can visualize that, but I would always say, if it's for the highest and best, and then be open to what is for your highest and best. Because we have our higher self. Our higher self is the part of us that is still connected to Source, and it's the part of us that has the most broadest perspective, and we're in constant communication with. That's who we want. That's who we want to align ourselves to be. We want to align ourselves with our higher self and live from that perspective and manifest from that perspective. Listen to where our intuition comes from. It's only here, as we're incarnated here, and we take on certain beliefs and certain thoughts that are limiting thoughts and limiting beliefs and perspectives. And we want to not manifest from that. We want to manifest from the broadest perspective. So those are things to bear in mind with the manifestation. Absolutely letting go and trusting in divine timing and having that detachment. And of course, another tool that can help with your manifestations as well, as you're starting to figure out the beliefs that you might have that are preventing your manifestations from working, the feelings of lack or not being good enough, and you start to change that, Another tool, as well as affirmations and visualization, is something I speak about a lot. I've done a YouTube video on this week about it. It's the feeling of gratitude. Quickly have a sip of water. For those who have followed me a lot on Instagram, and for those who are keeping up to date on my weekly YouTube videos and see one of the most recent ones I've done is gratitude is incredibly powerful. Now, gratitude is one of the elevated emotions that I've mentioned. Elevated emotions being gratitude, love, compassion, joy, inspiration, creativity. If we think of the positive emotions, it's on that positive side, what we call positive, they're elevated, they're life-giving, they're higher vibration. Those are the feelings that we want to feel. And gratitude is one of the highest. But not only is it one of the highest, it has a unique characteristic that's very specific to manifesting. And why is that? Because gratitude is the feeling that you feel when you receive. We've all felt gratitude for something in our life, even without realizing it. We can think of all the times of the manifestations that we know that we've made and how gratitude and amazement we've felt, or we can think of things that we're grateful for that we might take for granted. Being grateful for the clothes that we're wearing, the roof over our heads, the food that we have, the freedom that we might have. Everyone's got different things to be grateful for. I have worked with some people who have been so low and they say, oh, I can't feel gratitude about anything. I can't think of anything. It's like you say, Hein, I can't think of anyone to not be thankful for. But some people can get in such a state where they really can't feel gratitude or thankful for anything. And then I say, well, then go back to basics. You know, are you sitting on a chair right now? Be thankful for the chair. Have you got clothes on? Be thankful for the clothes. Are you warm? Be thankful that you are warm. Things that we would consider mundane, you know, don't take for granted. And it's actually really good to look at what we would call mundane or things that we take for granted, because if we can get in the habit of your breath, exactly, that's a really, really good one. Oh, Heidi, your message came in at 1944, and 44 is a number that I always see. It's a special number for me, so how funny that message was sent then. So I thought I'd mention that. 44, if anyone sees that, it's a very powerful number. 44 and 444, really powerful number, so thank you for that. If we can get in the habit of looking at all the things that we are grateful for, it programs our mind to automatically, like I said earlier, repetition. We can reprogram our mind and our belief system. The more, like with affirmations, repetition. If we can keep 1244 in Colorado, if we keep thinking a certain way, we will start to create feelings and beliefs from that. So if we start getting in the habit of looking at the things to be grateful for, then we will actually be able to instinctively look for the things to be grateful for automatically, which means we're going to constantly creating a feedback loop of always feeling gratitude. And that's going to be a baseline default vibration. And what's going to happen? That vibration is going to go out to the universe around us, and we are therefore going to start manifesting more things to be grateful for. So it sounds very simple, but it is very simple, but very effective. So when we feel gratitude, we are literally saying thank you. If we keep, Louise Hay says the universe loves grateful people. You know, we're always saying thank you, thank you. So if you visualize what it is that you want to manifest, you can do it with your affirmations, you can do it in meditation. If you visualize what your goal is, what it is that you want, and have the feeling that it's already real, also bring in the feeling of gratitude. Start saying thank you that you've already received it. So having the feeling of that you've already got it, what does that mean? It means if you have the feeling of what you want to manifest as if it's already real, it means start feeling how you would feel like if it's already manifested. So if you got that pay rise, how would you feel about that? What would it do for your life? If you've got that perfect partner, how would they make you feel? If you've got better health, how would your body feel physically? So you begin to feel how you would feel when that event has happened, as well as that, bring in the feeling of gratitude that you are so thankful that it's happened. Now, you're putting your point of attraction and your focus on what it is that you want to manifest and saying thank you for it already. So you're kind of ignoring the outer circumstances. Remember, internally is the main thing that we want to look at, our internal experiences. In lots of meditations, they say you want to make your internal experience much more real and vivid than your outer. So if you can go through this process where inside you're living with the mental rehearsal we spoke about earlier, you're living in every detail, you're seeing, you're touching, you're sensing, you're smelling, you're tasting, whatever it is, the experience that you want, and you're doing this consistently. And as you're doing it, you're bringing in that feeling of gratitude. Oh, so thank you for this. Thank you, it's already here. I can feel it. It's already real. And if you keep doing that, bringing in those feelings, and then also letting go, not being too attached to the outcome, not worrying about the details, your manifestation has to come. It's a law and a process. As long as you can be open to the universe, because the way the universe communicates to us and the way the universe manifests things, it's not how we always expect, as we've spoken about, and we always have to be open-minded. So too is the same in how the universe speaks to us. You know, if we're looking for signs from the universe or messages, universal signs or messages, I can have various ways. I mean, numbers are one of them. Feathers are another. Any sort of synchronicities. There's so many things that can happen. The more open-minded you are, the more the universe has different ways to catch your attention. You know, always be open-minded to all experiences and don't be narrow-minded. Even if you're not sure if that's a sign or not, just be open that it will be. And maybe ask for confirmation, see if if there's a pattern of a synchronicity, a synchronization of events that keep coming up. Then you'll know if this is a message or if this is not a message. But having that feeling of gratitude is very powerful. And what is a really good technique that you can do is gratitude meditation. It puts all of the stuff that we're talking about all together. If you can do a gratitude meditation, very simple. First of all, the feeling of gratitude, before I go into this meditation technique, gratitude has been shown through several studies. Joe Dispenza has done a lot of studies on this, if you're familiar with him. So these studies can be, you can look them up yourself, where those who are meditating, who meditate with elevated emotions, have been shown to have wonderful physical healing effects on the physical body. Now, the reason this happens is because when we have elevated emotions like gratitude or love or compassion, these emotions are not coming from any form of stress. Now, we have two types of nervous systems. There's the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. When we're always in stress and high alert and fight or flight, we are always in the sympathetic nervous system. And if we've got too much stress, it literally is damaging our body. Our immune system is suppressed. Certain bodily functions can't function properly. And the DNA in our body coils, literally, the strands of DNA coils, the more stress. We get stressed, we get really tight muscles. Our DNA does the exact same thing. So our DNA can't express itself properly. Now, if you think of the very nature of being in the fight or flight response, if we was out in the wild, it's to avoid danger. And so the blood or certain functions from certain physical body, from certain physiological functions that are not a priority in that moment, all that blood and that adrenaline goes to your muscles, your limbs to escape the danger. But the problem is we're not out in the wild. We're going to a job that we don't like. We might be in a toxic relationship. We might just keep telling ourselves we're not good enough. And therefore we're staying in that stress response all the time. After a period of time, that has a negative effect on the body. Well, if we can begin to feel elevated emotions like love and gratitude, that's been shown to turn on the parasympathetic nervous system. And what does that do? That is the nervous system that generates the growth and repair, the feel-good chemicals, so we get a bit more homeostasis and balance in the body. And these studies have shown that the immune system, by meditating, these students, they just meditated for 10 minutes for 3 days. So 30 minutes in total over a period of 3 days. Hand on their heart center and feeling the feeling of gratitude. And what that did for them is boost their immune system up by up to 50%. They were able to take a saliva sample. In your saliva, they could measure a chemical, I believe it's called immunoglobulin, which is a very powerful chemical that the body uses to fight off infection. It's like the body's natural antibiotic. And they were able to measure how strong those levels were, and it went up to 50% for some people by just practicing 10 minutes for 3 days, feeling gratitude. So my point is, as well as how the feeling of gratitude will help your manifestations because of the nature of being thankful for something, you're also going to get wonderful physical effects as well. And it will help your heart go into a much more coherent rhythm. It helps your heart become more balanced, and therefore your brain becomes more balanced. And so by putting us all together in a meditation, what you can do is you can get into a meditative state in whatever way that you choose to do. If you place your hand onto your heart and bring in the feeling of gratitude, bring in the feeling of having something to be grateful for. And as you sit with that feeling of gratitude, allow that to come in and swell up inside of you. And as you've got that feeling, begin to think or imagine or say your affirmation of what it is that you want to manifest. And so that feeling that you have of gratitude, the elevated emotions, by focusing on what it is that you want to manifest as if it's already real, you are literally beginning to shift your vibration to what you want to manifest to you. As you're lifting your vibration up with the gratitude, you're saying thank you for receivership. You can write down on a piece of paper a list or something that you want to manifest. You can give it a letter to represent it. You can give it a name to represent what you want to manifest, and have that in your mind. And so when you close your eyes, you can see that image, you can see that letter, you can see that name. Let that be your point of focus. You're looking at that, but then you're bringing in the feeling of gratitude, of thankfulness that it's already real. Bring in the feeling that you would have as if it's already real. So if it's having more money, look at what you've written down. It could be M for money or whatever it represents to you. That's what your main focus is on. It's just like a reminder thing to keep your mind focused on that. And then you're bringing in that feeling of how it would feel to have that money, or how would it feel to have that partner, how would it feel to have better health, or whatever it is. So you're having an internal experience, very vivid, then having that feeling of gratitude while still focusing on what it is that you want. For me, ahead of me right now, I have a piece of paper, an outline of a body with bits of little lines that represent energy and frequency, and around that is all the things that I want to manifest, currently do. And so I look at that, and that's my anchor, and I imagine all those things that I've written down are written around in my energy field, and I'm aligning to that more and more each day. And that's a very powerful technique that helps you to shift your vibration. You go into that meditative state, having your point of focus on what it is that you want to manifest, bringing in that feeling of gratitude, bringing in the feeling of what you want to manifest as already here. Have you noticed we're not wanting, we're not wishing, we're not hoping? Because there's a lot of misunderstanding. If we say affirmations, I will have, or I am going to have, those are all worded in terms of lack. Because remember, the universe can only reflect back what we put out as physical experience. It mirrors what we affirm in present tense. Why? Because there is only the present moment. There is only this moment right now. The past are just memories from experiences that we've had, and we can replay them over and over again in our mind. And very interesting little thing I found out is that it's believed that the memories, now you can understand this because we know how memories can warp as time goes on. We get more fuzzy memories, or we're not quite sure if that's accurate or not, but we can have memories of something, of how we believe something was and how it's affected us, and that determines, really influences our beliefs and how our life is. Well, it's been found that the more that time goes on, memories get warped so much that we may not have a true memory of what actually happened. If something happened when you were a child and it was very abusive or very traumatic for you, and since then you've had fears of certain things, or if you've had a lot of feelings of not being good enough, or whatever it is, and you've always remembered that. But as time goes on, the memory will begin to change ever so slightly, bit by bit, until you can have several years down the line, and the memory that you keep telling yourself, therefore influencing how your life is in a lacking way, it may not have even happened. And we don't realize that. It may not even be the original memory. It may not have anything to do with the original experience. And it's still controlling us. And the future doesn't exist. We are creating the future by what we are doing right now. The point of power is always in the present moment. What vibration, what we're emitting right now is creating what our future will be. But that's good, because that means we can change. Anything can change just like that. So we're not victim to circumstances. We can easily make our shift our energy, and shift our point of attraction. So the future is just a concept, ideas. Where we get stuck is where we get so locked into these memories of what happened, and we associate them with happening in the future, or similar experiences in the future happening based on those experiences. We completely bypass the present. It just wastes so much time and energy. So it's having these awarenesses of how the manifestation process works, and how it's very intimately linked with what our belief system is. So this is why it's very important to know where our beliefs are first. If we're struggling to manifest something, well, what is your current belief system? What current habits do you have? Are you setting yourself up for success, or in a sense setting yourself up for not failure, but making it much more difficult for yourself? And so it's important to be aware of that. And it's a subject that I talk about a lot on my both social media platforms, because it's something that a lot of people wanting to know about, and it's something that's so important because it affects everything. And this is what I also focus on in my coaching programs, is if you want to be happier, if you want to change your life, you need to change your beliefs. There's so many tools and techniques out there. They all are equally valid and powerful. But for me, everything always also has been linked to what's in the subconscious mind. You can do several techniques, several things. You can be as motivated as you want consciously. But if you don't make a change in those beliefs, you will keep repeating the same things over and over again. And it's getting into that subconscious part of our mind, because I said the subconscious mind is like a supercomputer. It controls everything. And that's where things like the inner child resides, and all those memories and all those feelings. So we want to liberate ourselves by releasing that. And once we can do that, once we have done that, then we have like a clean slate to start consciously choosing what we want to believe and what we want to define ourselves. So I hope that's been helpful for the manifestation workshop. I'll take some questions if anyone has any questions. Just to say as well is that I do have some coaching spaces still available if anyone would like to work on a one-on-one basis with me in helping them to release any of these subconscious fears or habits that you may have, or to help get you into that place where you can begin to manifest what it is that you want. There's several different coaching programs that I offer. I also offer a free 20-minute discovery call where we can talk about whatever issues that you currently have going on, and to see what it is that I'm able to do to help. And if this is something that you're interested in, you can click the link in my Instagram bio, or the link is also available in my About section on my YouTube page. It will take you to a page where you can book a date and a time for a free call, and we can go from there. But if anyone has any questions, I've got a few minutes where I can take some questions about manifesting, anything that I've said. Please do go ahead and drop a comment. I can see that there is one on Instagram actually. Where's that gone? I'm just going to quickly scroll up. It's keeping tabs on your YouTube if there's any questions there as well. And by the way, this is just to remind anyone who may want to hear this again, or if anyone has just joined and has missed it so far, this is going to be available as a replay on YouTube. My replays aren't available on Instagram anymore. The replays will always be available on YouTube. So it'll be posted pretty much immediately after we go off today. Susan, hey Susan, Joe Dispenza, and the 44s. Yes, the 44s always special. Thank you for the reminders. You're welcome. Just see if there's any comments on the YouTube side. Any more comments? Oh, Heidi, I very much enjoyed this workshop. Thank you very much. You're most welcome. Thank you for tuning in. The workshops, as some of you know, they're going to be 3 workshops a week. So the next one will probably be on Tuesday. I think it will be every other day. I'm not sure what topic that will be on yet, but I will post that nearer the time. How to work on self-esteem. Well, self-esteem, we've kind of touched upon that when we have the feelings of not being good enough. Affirmations is a wonderful way. Saying affirmations like you love and accept yourself, because if we can learn to love and accept ourselves, we naturally step into our divine worth and divine power, right? If we love, approve of ourselves and know that we are good enough, well, immediately any belief in lack is going to go out the window, because we know that we are good enough to receive. We know that we are good enough to manifest what it is that we want, and not just manifest it, but to receive it. Because some of us can feel that we're not good enough to receive good experiences or abundance. We might think we're taking from somebody else. We might think that we are lacking. We might think that we're just not worthy. Well, we absolutely are worthy. So self-esteem, affirmations are wonderful. What's your self-talk like? Is your self-talk negative? Is your self-talk all about how you're not good enough and not worthy? Start doing the opposite, saying that you are good enough. You are worthy. You know, a really good technique is also to look at what's not working in your life, or if you can have a look at where you're critical. If you're overly critical of certain things in your life, what is it that you're criticizing yourself about? What beliefs do you have? And if you want to find out the most effective affirmations that will work for you, is just flip what you're criticizing yourself about. So if you don't love yourself, if you don't think you're worthy, well then just say, I love and accept myself, I am worthy. It's a simple way to find out what is going to work for you, is find out what your pains are and just flip them. Because that's obviously what you want to work on. What's not working are the areas that you want to get the opposite results from. So that's a very easy way. To do that. Thank you, sir. Great workshops. That's from tri.g.cia. Thank you so much. I'm glad it was helpful for you. Kula.ye. Sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly. I always like to try and pronounce every name just to let you know I'm speaking to you. Could you explain in more details as to how to detach yourself from what you want to manifest? Yes, so first of all, recognizing, you don't want to come from a place of lack. Obviously, it's understandable that we can have fears and we have these feelings built up and we can't always help that. But to detach from that, it's just practicing surrendering the details. It's going to be getting a bit of trust and confidence. So the more you do it, the more you will get confident in the universe. It sounds funny saying that, but it is true. Because sometimes we might be a bit suspicious, like, oh, is this going to work? That part of our mind might be thinking, I don't know, I'm a bit unsure about this, too fearful. But if we can actually begin to just trust and let go, and then as we look out for the signs and messages, just have faith that there's a law and a process, something will come up. When you start noticing the signs, you'll start to get more confident that things are happening. Now, the more you do that, you'll get confident. And the more confident you get, the more easy it is to detach, because you'll just have trust and faith. So it's going to be a bit of experience. It will get easier the more you do it, the more you are familiar with the process. But it's just going to be the same of just detaching from any outcome as best you can. The way you can do that is just by relinquishing the divine, by being so specific, not having any specifics on the timing. By relinquishing and must manifest by this time. Just have that say it will happen when the time is right, because that takes the pressure off. If you've got the pressure taken off, it will help you to detach, and then just look out for the signs. Be open-minded to all signs and messages that the universe can speak to you. And then as you start to recognize them, you'll start to realize, okay, this does work. This is working. I have made some shifts here. there is some benefits, so I can begin to actually have a bit more faith and trust. So just a bit of time. Catty, how can we be sure that do not make mistake by manifesting? So now I thought universe knows what isn't good for me. So you're saying how can we be sure that we don't make mistakes by manifest the wrong things? Is that what you mean? So the universe will know what's for your highest and best, or your higher self knows what's for your highest and best. Now, we, as far as manifesting like mistakes and stuff, well, we're manifesting all the time. So really and truthfully, there can't really be a mistake, because manifesting is going to be based on what our vibration is. We can manifest things that we don't want, but we don't always realize that we're doing it, but we still manifested it, right? So the way is to always have tabs on how we're feeling, what our feeling state is. Are we feeling good? Are we feeling bad? Are we feeling less than epic, as some people say? You know, if we're feeling stressed, if we're feeling that we're a bit of desperation, or a bit overly attached, or tired, we can think, okay, these aren't abundant feelings here. Where am I coming from at the moment? You know, this doesn't feel quite right. So am I out of alignment, and am I starting to manifest from a fearful perspective? So that's one way to catch yourself, is to notice how you're feeling first of all. So if you're wanting to avoid manifesting any mistakes, or wanting to avoid anything that, you know, may cause problems, then go by how you're feeling first of all. If you're beginning to feel, you know, that you're starting to not feel quite as, you know, you're not in that elevated feeling, that's your cue to think, right, okay, I need to get back into alignment here. And then as soon as you have that awareness, you can then begin to adopt and make shifts to, you know, give everything up to the universe to help prevent those things from happening. If I've understood your question correctly. So I'm just going to take a couple more questions. Danny, my baby dog passed away in my arms after a month of hospitalisation. How do I deal with this trauma? Oh, bless you, Rima. It's always very hard when things like that happen, I do know. What I would say is, for me, I have as much conviction as I have. For me, you know, your dog, the spirit of your dog has never left you. You know, he or she will be with you. And we had something similar with one of our cats a couple of years ago, when our cat, she was perfectly healthy, and she passed away she deteriorated very quickly, and she passed on before the vet was even able to diagnose what was wrong with her. And that was a very shocking experience, because we weren't really prepared for that, because it came out of nowhere, and it was very raw trauma that we felt. And we're touching on the feeling of grief here. So with grief, what I've found from going through that experience, and other people have said they found this as well, is not only was I grieving for my cat passing on, it was bringing up grief from previous, you know, like when my grandparents passed away, or other animals, or anything like that. So it was an opportunity to release more of what's going on, if this makes sense. So let's talk in terms of, you know, a broader perspective, an elevated feeling. So when these things happen, they're like triggers as well. So obviously we're going to feel the grief, the sadness, the shock, you know, of an animal physically not being with us. Remember that energetically and spiritually they are always with you, so you've not lost anything. We don't have the physical contact that we've got familiar with, and that's the part of us that is grieving, because we're so used to that. What I would say is be mindful of the feeling of grief that you have. It may also be grief from previous experiences. I know that when I was grieving for my cat, I was also grieving for my grandparents again, the grief that I was still holding on to. And this was an opportunity to release. I knew this. So I allowed the process of grief to happen. If anyone's familiar with David Hawkins and the emotional frequency scale, which he devised, where where you measure the frequency and which emotion, which feeling state, where it resonates. With grief, he says that grief's a classic example. If we allow ourselves to go through that process of the grieving, that feeling will eventually go away quite quickly. I think he said something 20 minutes or half an hour. It can be very intense. But if we allow it to happen, it will go and we can heal much quicker. The problems happen when we suppress it and we block it off. And that's where things build up. And so obviously, in the Western society in particular, we've got a lot of, carry on, don't cry, push through it, everything like that. And so we have that mindset of just need to carry on pushing everything down. So it's important to allow the grief to come up. Know that the being that was with you, it was obviously meant to be their time. Otherwise it wouldn't have happened. It was obviously meant to be my cat's time. Obviously it wouldn't have happened. But it was an opportunity. It really elevated me up. After going through that grieving period, it made me go inward more and understand my feeling processes. I could understand and see the grief that I was holding on from my grandparents. I was able to release that more. And actually, it was a blessing in disguise. As weird as it is to say, for my own development. And I thanked my beautiful cat Bo for that. And I know that she was always with me. And I actually had some very vivid dreams. And I kept hearing meows. I kept being woken up by meows in my ears. It sounded just like her. And several things. We never lose that because we're all interconnected. So your little dog would have served a purpose, and obviously it's time where it's had to pass on. What I would say is the grief that you're feeling, allow yourself to feel that, and just be mindful of any other grief that might be coming up, and allow that to come up. And know that it will get easier, and you can still speak to your little dog. And you will still get messages. I asked so many times for signs, and I got so many signs, to show that Bo was there. And I know how that works. So just remember that it will always be with you. And you can use this as an opportunity to let go of that emotion, of those feelings. And the real thing that you can do is, when I spoke about the feeling of gratitude, place your hand onto your heart with that feeling of gratitude and give thanks to the dog, and that will be met, and then just allow yourself that time. So, and I hope that's helped anyone else who may going through any grieving period. It's never easy, especially with animals, wonderful companions that we have. But yeah, I hope that will help with that. Let's see if there's any more. Final question, and then I'll have to. Can you believe I've been on for 72 minutes already? Wow. So, the _Willy_drawn_girl. Hi, hello there. Where should I start my manifestation journey? What are the initial steps? How can I make my mind manifest my dreams? I feel a little disconnected when I try to imagine a life to aim for. So, the first place to always look at is get clear. In fact, if you check out my most recent YouTube video, there's a 5-step process actually for the manifesting process. So if anyone's not familiar with my YouTube channel, I do have a YouTube channel. I post 3 videos a week there and daily YouTube shorts. I'm also streaming there as well at the moment. So if you do like my content on Instagram, please do check out my YouTube and consider subscribing to that as well. It's Daily Conscious Living. And in that most recent video, 5 ways, the 5 process of manifesting. So the first one, you say where to begin, I talk about is you need to be specific. So you get an idea of what it is that you want. So you need to know your goals and be very specific about what it is that you want. But then what I would also do after that is you need to look and see what your current belief systems are. Because as you said, you feel a bit of a disconnect to make it happen. So you need to see what beliefs you currently have that are preventing you from manifesting it. So in other words, you would have some beliefs maybe in lack of something. So you need to find out what your current belief systems are, because that's what's blocking it from happening. So, you need to see, are you believing in lack because you don't think you're good enough, or you don't think it can work? What are you constantly telling yourself? Then once you've done that, it's easier to begin to release that energy and change the mindset to then start to get into that place where it's actually happened. Like in the teachings of the law of assumption, for example, assume the feeling that it's already real. Then you can start saying your affirmations. Affirmations are wonderful. Make sure everything's present tense. You won't not feel it straight away. I think anyone who's ever started using affirmations, it feels strange to begin with, it can even feel a bit silly. But write some affirmations out on what it is that you want to manifest and make sure it's present tense. And by that I mean say I am, I have, I am experiencing, I am receiving. Make it like it's happening now. The more you can do that, and the more you can practice getting that feeling like it's already real, the more your mind is going to accept it more. You know, it takes practice and repetition. But first of all, get clear on what it is that you want to manifest. Look at what your current beliefs are as to, what could be preventing it from happening and see what you can change. And then start to do your affirmations. Start to speak in present tense like it's already real. Start to practice having that feeling like it's already here. And then bring in the feeling of gratitude to couple with it. So you're like saying thank you to it. And then all the other processes, you need to detach, to let go of expectations and allow the universe to take care of the details. JoeWinson.nl, Steady Conscious Living YouTube channel's name. No, it's Danny Conscious Living. My YouTube channel name is the same as my Instagram, Danny Conscious Living. If you type in Danny Conscious Living on YouTube, it should come up. I don't know if I can share links on these live streams, but that's also where the replay of this live is going to be. So for those who might want to see this again, or for those who have tuned in, all my live stream replays are going to be available on YouTube, as well as 3 weekly videos, the daily shorts and the workshops up there as well. There was one thing I was just going to add to that last question. What was it? Oh yes, a fun little thing that I'll say just before signing off is where I spoke about we can have resistance to what it is that we want to manifest and changing our beliefs. It takes the pressure off if we can say something like I am willing to change, or I am willing. Just saying I am willing before makes a big difference, because we might not believe that we are feeling what we're feeling. We might not believe that we've got the money, we might not believe that we've got the health, we might not believe we've got the relationship or whatever, and it might be difficult to really say I have or I am, and we might be met with some internal resistance from our subconscious mind. So if we say I am willing to have my highest and best, or I am willing to feel, or I am willing to change, that takes the pressure off, and you have a choice then. You are open to having a choice, saying I'm willing to change, I'm willing to receive, I'm willing to get back into alignment. So that is another alternative that you can say if you're not quite ready to say I have or I am. You're at least telling the universe that you're willing. It's like, okay, you know that you've got to make some changes, you don't know what to do, but if you say I am willing to change, I am willing to make these steps, then it puts into motion the openness. It's the same as wanting to manifest things and get messages from the universe. If you're closed to it, you'll find it very difficult to receive. But if you're open-minded, that's when the universe has ample room to provide you with everything that you need to show you that it's trying to make its manifestations work for you. So I hope that's helpful. And thank you so much to everyone who has tuned in. It's been a really enjoyable session. And I think it's worked quite. I've got my cameras here set up quite well in my office, so that's good. There will be another workshop on Tuesday. It might just be a Q&A session. I do like to have an opportunity where it's just like a session where everyone can just ask all sorts of questions. They're always great because they're so varied. I never know what I'm going to get asked, and a lot of the questions that people ask have actually been helpful for other people there because they might have a similar question. So I will post details about the times on my Instagram story and on my YouTube community page. Again, I do have some coaching spaces available if you are interested in working with me one-to-one or would like some guidance on how you can learn some techniques to help reprogram your subconscious mind and to remove these habits to help put you in that space where you can start manifesting what you want. I do have some free Calls available, discovery calls, a free 20-minute call. You can click the link in my Instagram bio or find the link on my YouTube page where you can book a date and a time where you can have a chat with me about what you'd like to work on, and we can go from there. Thank you so much, Danny. You're welcome, Susan. Rima made me happy for a while. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I'm so pleased to hear that, Rima. It will get easier, and you know, your little dog will still be with you. Definitely, you're separate from that. You can communicate. Just send love and gratitude to them, and it will be met. But thank you so much, everyone. If you would like this replay, it will be available on my YouTube page. I will put in my Instagram story once it's up and running, and on YouTube it should come up when it's up and running as well. And on YouTube, Heidi, thank you so much. Appreciate, grateful for connecting. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you for tuning in. And wherever you are in the world, everyone, hope you have a lovely morning, afternoon, and evening. And I'll see you in the next workshop. So take care.